So we'll call the meeting May 5th, 2021 at 6:11 p.m. Anybody that's watching, apologize. We were just waiting for all our members so that we had enough on the call so that we could continue. All right, so call to order at 6:11 p.m. We have everyone had a chance to look at the agenda. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, anything they want to add to the agenda? Everybody okay with the agenda? Okay, so there we go. We've got Bert and we've got Dustin. So motion made by Dustin, seconded by Bert to accept the agenda. Everybody all in favor? Sure. Okay. Again, if you find yourself in trouble anyway along the way and you find you're conflicted in any of our decisions or topics we have to discuss, if you know now, you can let us know so Trish can put that in her minutes. Otherwise, just speak up as we move along and we'll get hi Steve, thanks for joining us. Did everyone have a chance to look at the minutes, our AGM minutes, April 7th, 2021? And if there's no questions or concerns, we'll get a motion to accept the agenda from April 7th. Anybody? Somebody? Anybody? Okay, Heather and Steve, because they didn't vote on the last one. So everybody in favor of the minutes from last month? No questions, concerns? Okay, perfect. That's passed. Business arising, that sort of falls in. There's nothing they want to add or change. Any questions, anything you want us to look into further? Okay, good. Ashley, I'm thinking you're out there somewhere. There you are.
Thanks for having me on for my update again. It's nice to see you all. I'll start with our digital service squad, which is still available. So you all met Clara earlier this year, and we now have a new staff member, Nathaniel, who is in Clara's place as our digital service squad member. And as a reminder, our digital service squad is here to help businesses get their businesses online, provide any assistance that you may need from social media, e-commerce, website development, things like that. So we encourage you to get in touch with our digital service squad member by email or by phone, and they're happy to help you out with all your digital needs. We still have PC Connect, our Perth County transit system, running during the stay-at-home order, but at this time it is running for essential reasons only. So examples of that are getting groceries, prescriptions, healthcare services, things like that. Despite not being able to actually really market and promote the transit system since launch because of the pandemic, we are getting good ridership numbers. So I don't have a ridership update for you this time around, but we're hoping next meeting we'll kind of be able to see how the first half of the year has gone with ridership, and I look forward to bringing that then. Next, we have a couple online webinars that I'm pretty excited about and I think are going to be great for our local businesses. The first is Experience Development 101, which is a tourism recovery workshop. Businesses are invited to attend this workshop to learn more about creating COVID-19 resilient experiences and other business recovery strategies that can help them attract visitors when they're able to do so again and really recover from the hurt that has been caused by the pandemic. We look forward to also discussing at that webinar how us at Perth County can help your business bring an experience to market and then promote that experience. So we've hired on an experience development professional and we've hired on a professional media marketing team. And we're working as a group to help businesses develop something and then get the word out there to people about it. So attending the webinar is really the first step in a larger program we're putting on that I'm hoping as many businesses as possible will get involved in. For more information, you can visit tourismrecovery.eventbrite.ca, or you can check out our social media pages and the information is listed there as well. The next webinar is our Ontario by Bike webinar. So Perth County is collaborating with the town of St. Mary's and the city of Stratford to bring the Ontario by Bike program to our area. In doing this, businesses free of charge are able to register and get the bicycle friendly business certification, which will add them to the Ontario by Bike registry and open them up to the cycling market, which COVID-19 has proved is very large. So anyone interested in accessing that cycle tourism market and learning more about how they can get involved is encouraged to register for the webinars. And again, you can find that at our social media pages or at ontariobybike.ca. We've recently entered into another partnership with Stratford St. Mary's and Commutech to offer a COVID-19 screening kit program. So businesses in Perth County are able to register for rapid tests for their workplaces for their employees. The criteria is to be a small to medium-sized business, meaning under 150 people in Perth County, and to be in a sector considered essential where your employees are not able to work from home. The way the program works is a business can register to receive these rapid tests. They have to do so before 3 p.m. on a Friday, and then they can pick their kits up in Stratford at the Destination Stratford office on the following Monday. There's more information on that on our website, our social media pages, or you can visit staysafescreen.ca. And I really do encourage any business owner to take advantage of this program. We're hoping it will be a great help to our fight in Perth County to protect against COVID-19. If you follow us on the Perth County Tourism social media pages, you may have seen our Perth County Cares Mystery Box program. It closed on April 28th. At this program, people are encouraged to nominate local residents to receive a surprise mystery box that is filled with Perth County gift cards and goodies. They're all valued at least $100. We went in planning to build 50 boxes and we received over 135 nominations. Reading through, they're really heartwarming, some of these nominations, and I think speaks to the resiliency of many of our residents in Perth County. And we're excited to deliver those boxes to 50 of the nominees at the end of May, fingers crossed, if the stay-at-home order is lifted. I also have listed in my update here a Business Operations 101 webinar that is getting put on by the Stratford Perth Center for Business. This is a good webinar for businesses to discover key mindsets to improve business operations and kind of just take a look at if your business is running as efficient as it could be. And that is it for my update for this month, unless anyone has any questions, which I would welcome. Great. Okay. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks, Ashley. Unmute. There we go. Lost my agenda there. Sorry. So if there's no questions for Ashley, well, you guys have definitely been busy for COVID shutdowns. You guys sound like you ramped up your jobs, not lessened them. That is for sure. Thank you for all the hard work you're doing. All right, municipal update, Jeff Brick.
Yeah, I'm going to start by echoing exactly what you said, Sherry, that the county has really worked hard, and it's allowed the work that's been done by County Economic Development Department has really allowed us to focus on our response to the pandemic, and can't say enough how much we appreciate all the work that's being done for the local municipalities by the county. Couple of quick municipal updates for you. I don't have a lot this month, but I will mention that the flowers are ordered for the downtown. We ordered them in the same way that we order them other years at the same time. They are telling us, though, that they're probably not going to get in until the end of the month, which, with the way the weather is this next couple of weeks, we had a very early spring, but now we're having some really cool nights to remind us that it still is only May. and we were kind of getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but the Mother Nature is kind of slowing it back down again. We did order a few perennials to try in the pots downtown as per the conversation at the BIA a couple of months ago. So we're going to test a few perennials and see how we do with running perennials in the pots under the trees and see if we can get some more green in them and color. On the weekend, and I 2 days in a row been over to the office and haven't gone around and checked. Earth painted the parking spots, I understand, or they planned to paint the parking spots at the EV charger. I don't know if anyone noticed if they were painted, but we had
Yep.
them scheduled.
I noticed them right away.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
very bright and very noticeable.
So we had them scheduled. We're finding evidently, and Earth has some numbers on this, but the EV charging station is a lot like when you put out one of those feeding stations for a hummingbird. It's kind of amazing how they figure out where they are, and suddenly you've got hummingbirds at it. And it seems that EV charging stations are the same. The word gets out, and even though there hasn't been any promotion yet, and we're kind of in a soft launch, we're getting some early uptake in use, which is a good sign of things to come. The next thing Earth is doing is they've got signs on order. They'll be installing a promotional sign, and they're creating a template for us to make an update to our municipal parking bylaw that will deal with space being dedicated for use by EV vehicles that are charging. And again, soft launch, they won't be charging any money for those stations until likely the beginning of June. And even then, I'm not certain if we'll be ready with the bylaw. And the one other thing I want to mention was the reservoir water level. And I know it's not necessarily a direct downtown issue, but I think it attracts people to our community, and you may be getting questions where I've had cause over my career to watch water levels very closely, and for the first big chunk of my career and more recently while I've been at West Perth, I still very aware of spring runoff conditions and water levels. And I can say that this is the second time in 30 years where the kind of spring conditions experienced are this very, very dry April, which makes it extremely difficult to fill small reservoirs and even big ones like Wildwood Dam. And so we've kind of been in a mode where we're trying to get enough runoff to fill the reservoir for the last 3 weeks. We went in a little earlier than we normally do and prepared the reservoir for filling. We do know that we may have to, if we do get the reservoir full and we have hot, dry conditions with not a lot of runoff, we may have water quality problems with the reservoir, which might mean that we have to bring it down and then get enough water to bring it back up. We're going to try to kill down that vegetation that has grown and try to begin to bring it back to normal operations. And it may take a year or two, but the one thing none of us anticipated was this super dry spring. So we really need about a ½ inch of good rain to get about a ¼ inch of runoff, and we'll get it full. But until we get that, it's not going to catch up to fill. So I could say a few words about the Connecting Link project. Did you want me to, Sherry, or did you want to mention it yourself?
You know what? It's on other business. So we might as well, you're here. It was you that was going to talk about it anyway. So if everybody's okay with that, Trish, we're going to take section 10A and we're going to bump it up into the room into Jeff's report. That's just fine. It was just on new business, so it didn't get forgotten.
Yeah, so I'll add it into my report. So the municipality was successful again, working with the province in securing a Connecting Links grant to do a top coat of pavement on the section of Ontario Road from St. David Street east to the edge of town. And I think this is just a good sign that we've got a good relationship between the province and our ability to be adaptable and put these projects in our budgets and be ready to do them and then apply. And then we've our operations department and the leadership of Mike Kramer has really executed these Connecting Links projects very well. So we've been once again successful in securing a grant, and it's a really good thing for West Perth because it's 90% of the cost of the construction. And so the days of grants like that, you feel like they're gone, but they're not. You just have to apply for the right ones and get successful. So great news on that front. We only got approval here a few weeks ago, so we're working, Mike Kramer's working away at getting tender documents prepared. I want to just confirm that it's a shave and pave. So what that means is we'll shave about 2 inches of asphalt down and then replace it with new asphalt. It's planned to be a 2-week project, so there'll be a phase where we shave all covers and then come back and pave it. With the nature of this project and the width of that section of road, we won't be detouring around, and we sort of want to get in and get out in a fairly compact fashion. But I think that the end result of this will be really nice top coat completed for all of our roads in serving Mitchell, north, south, east, and west. So if there's any questions about the report or about that component, I'll try to answer them as best I can.
Jeff, I have a question here regarding the paving. With tenders just go out, is there a time frame that they're targeting?
Yeah, well, we have to have it, like our time frame will be that we'll need to get it in before the asphalt plants shut down for 2021. So that traditionally is around November 15th. If anyone's been following the supply chain issues that we're having and construction issues, some of it's supply chain. A big chunk of it is just how busy the construction business is. We will be working to see who we can get for a contractor who still has room for projects, although we've got some good indications that we're likely get bidders, and it's a pretty straightforward project. So, Steve, I can't say for sure. This was one we put the money in the budget hoping, but we weren't counting on it, and so now we're going to scramble and add it as a project.
So it's more late summer, early fall, most likely.
Yeah, I would say it's gonna be likely late summer, early fall. Yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah. So, and again, this is one of those ones that we'll probably be able to manage it with flag people and try to minimize the disruption. And look, it's not lost on us that our whole community is trying to bounce back from COVID, and we don't want to kick projects like this down the road, and you certainly don't want to turn down this kind of support. But I think we are very aware of their need to minimize disruption and make it work for the community, and we'll do our best on that.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for that. The other, I'm just looking at this here. The other part of our new business actually falls with you as well, Jeff. Are you comfortable just if we bump it up while you're doing a report? Just about the future of the water bottle refilling stations. We've had some inquiries about the downtown one, and I know we've had inquiries about our downtown one, and I know you've been working on it at the office level. So why don't we just take part B and move it up to your report as well, so that we can maybe discuss it later if we need to as a board.
Sure, I'll give you a quick update on that. So really interesting, we have the Environment, Forestry and Trails Committee wants to do a water filling station. We have we've been approached by a service group who has asked us that they would like to do a filling station, and we also know that the BIA is interested for the downtown. So we are what we're going to do is we're going to procure so that we can settle who will regularly buy them from. So we'll use this process to procure what the supply cost is going to be and how long they'll guarantee that price. And then we can take them as we have the groups approve them, and we can put them in. We think that at least 2 will be ready to go with, and we'll come back to the BIA to try to identify a logical location in the downtown. So the 3 locations we're looking at are Cooper Field or Kinsman Park on the where the washrooms and the booth are out there, and then that would serve the wetlands. And the nice thing about that is we can't put it closer to the wetland because we need a water connection. We'd also like to put one on the visitor center to serve that trail loop, which those two could be covered by Environment, Forestry and Trails and the Service Club that we're working with, and we're just following up on that. And then I think that we're really open to some suggestions from the BIA about where they might see an opportunity for a downtown one. So the configuration, if you can sort of picture, you need a water supply. Hydro is okay. We don't necessarily need hydro because we wouldn't necessarily need to chill it. And if we didn't chill it, if it's coming out of the pipe system, it's usually cool enough to drink and you don't put a chiller on them. But if you'd like it chilled, we'd want a hydro location. And so we just need a building to hang it on that is a public building where we have some control, but it's a logical place. So for example, you could consider the library, but it's not really right in the downtown. And so I think this is where, like, it's in the downtown, but it's not on the main street. So I think that's the challenge now, is to, as you're walking around the downtown, to identify a few logical locations, and we want a building and we want to know that there's a water line nearby, and then we can maybe narrow down what the location could look like.
Jeff, I missed the first part of that, sorry.
Yeah.
But you have to have a building for a water bottle refill station?
Well, the models that we're anticipating buying, and we can buy a stand, we can buy a freestanding as well, but the one that we're looking at for the two first choices would hang on a building.
Okay.
It would hang on the outside of. So if you could picture the visitors information center,
Yeah.
I think what we would do is, and I haven't looked to see where the water line is, and we'll obviously investigate this, hang it on the wall between the two washroom doors facing north.
Right. There is the old fountain too downtown by the cenotaph.
Yeah, of course, that line, I don't know if that line is still there, but if that line's still there, we could put a standalone one there.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So we can look at those options, and we're going to do the procurement because that'll allow us to identify you essentially can get these products from a number of people. So we want to narrow down who our supplier is going to be, and then we can work our way through a program of implementation. And we can do the max. We can do extra configurations like standalone, hang on a wall. Once you get that low price, you'll be able to use it across the product line.
Yeah, I feel like the standalone might be our best option. Where the old water fountain used to be, Cenotaph, it's kind of it's sort of central.
Yeah, and we can explore if that water line is still there, and if that stub is still there, then that might be a great choice for us to look at. And we'll have to look at maintenance, and have to think about the fact that piece of equipment's there winter and summer, and just think about how we get it in there and not have it get broken in the first year because of snow removal or something. So we'll just have to be smart about that.
Okay, well, we do have some money set aside, and like I said, I know that you were looking at it in other areas, so I figured we might as well just put it on to update the BIA where we are at with it. Okay, any questions for Jeff? But anything municipal, anything? Nope, no complaints. Good. Well, quick, shut it off. No complaints. No complaints. Okay. Financial reports, which I'm happy to say we should have. Yes. No.
Yes. Yep, we do. I'll just get my screen shared here. So I'm going to start with the financial, but then I'm just going to pause and then roll into my coordinator report. So it's great seeing everybody tonight. To start with the financials, I don't have a whole lot to report. The only numbers that you're going to notice that have really jumped, so sorry, this column is the one we're going to look at here, which is our actual column. So the only thing that we're going to really touch on is some of our advertising dollars have been spent, and then our community involvement money has been spent because of the projects that we've taken on with the virtual concert. That's why there's that expense in community involvement, plus some of the BIA Buck giveaways that we've done. And then the advertising with the advocate are really the only major expenses. Like our membership was paid earlier this year, so I don't have a whole lot to touch on the budget. Are there any questions with the budget? Okay, so I will scroll down a little bit further here. So I will just jump right into the report if that's okay, Sherry. So for my first thing that we're going to talk about is the analysis of the April 5th concert. So this would be our second virtual concert that we ran. The total cost came in at $1474.46 in total. We had more performers than we did last time, which actually increased our hall rental by 1 hour to accommodate the extra performers. And then we only ended up getting one ad in the Advocate. So there was one half-page ad that went in. And then the cable TV, the digital sign is usually no charge. And then Skyline Studios production was a little bit increased from last time as well. So that would be our budget. And then the feedback was basically just people that sent the keyword in said things like, oh, I really enjoyed those local performers, great shop local campaign. It was kind of the same story as last time. Nothing else really stood out. For the statistics on this viewing, we peaked at 147 viewers. So the performance ended up being 5 minutes longer than the last performance. And we would be down 23 viewers from the previous production. So that is the analysis on the April 5th concert. Was there any questions on the concert, comments, concerns? Okay, so then that would bring me into the framework piece of the presentation. So I'll just make this bigger so our YouTube viewers can see. We wanted to kind of, in speaking with Sherry and in speaking with Dustin, we wanted to kind of put a bit of a framework together so that as we move through having these digital concerts, there's really no discussion that has to happen on each production when it comes to the framework and who owns the footage and that sort of thing. So this did not go out with the agenda package, so I'm going to breeze through it. It did go out to the board earlier today to review. So the intent of this digital concert framework is to provide a foundation for creating concert material, distribution of the material, as well as ownership of the material, which has been created for the promotion of the Mitchell Business Improvement Area. So then a timeline, Skyline Studios will provide footage of the final production 48 hours prior to the scheduled event. And then the remaining footage will be provided to the BIA coordinator within 2 weeks of the production for future use as outlined below. When it comes to the artist video footage, the artists may request a copy of their raw video footage from Skyline Studios. Skyline Studios can issue the footage without the BIA logo and without further consent from the Board of Management. The Mitchell BIA owns the final production of artist footage and will receive a copy of said footage. Artists will sign a waiver in advance of the production, authorizing the BIA to use the footage as we see fit. When it comes to business footage, businesses can request a copy of their footage taken from the interior and exterior of their business through written consent to the Board of Management. The business must include an outline of what they are using the footage for. Skyline Studios will issue the footage to the business with the BI logo on it, and the business may be required to pay a nominal fee to edit the footage. Pictures and drone footage taken by Skyline Studios for various projects are owned by the Mitchell BIA and will be given to the BIA coordinator to have on file. This material can be used by the Mitchell BIA without further consent prior to use from Skyline Studios. And then lastly, edited and final production. So all edited and final material produced is owned by the Mitchell BIA and can be used at the Mitchell BIA's discretion without further consent prior to use from Skyline Studios. This includes artist edited performances only and all business footage taken from the interior and or exterior. So the premise of having this framework is so that we all know and understand who owns the footage, where it goes, that sort of thing. This can be changed, but I want the board to know that I did have a discussion with Dustin. So everything that is written here, Dustin and I had come up with, and he is fully compliant with with the framework that we've set out here, I guess we would say. Are there,
Oh, sorry, I just want to touch on the one little piece where it says about the nominal fee. That nominal fee will not go to us as a BIA. That is Dustin, as Dustin, the Skyline Studios sees fit to charge for his work to edit out each individual business. So that will be a piece that will happen between Skyline Studios and the business. It is not a nominal fee that comes back to the BIA.
yeah, that's right. It's just because again, we get the final production. So as Dustin needs to edit those business pieces, then that could require some further editing. And again, I put in there may be required because I want to leave this framework open for Dustin to make that decision.
Yeah, like
so-
it wouldn't be a whole ton of work. It would just, you know, being paid for half an hour of time, which is not much at all, right? So
No, but your best to you know, have that small fee so that the job is done professionally and fairly. I completely
Yep.
agree.
yeah, so it wouldn't be anything crazy though. So if anyone ever did want their footage, they wouldn't have to hesitate because they thought it would cost anything crazy.
So is there any questions, comments, concerns, revisions to this framework at all that anybody has? Okay. Now, Sherry, I don't know if you want to have a motion on this all later or not, but
Why don't we have a motion to accept the framework now, and then we're done and we're over with it. If there's no additions or changes or questions or concerns, if I can get a mover and a seconder to accept the Mitchell Business Improvement Area Digital Concert Framework as
I'll
written.
move it.
Steve, thank you. Heather, Bert,
I don't think I'm allowed to, so.
no, you're not. Heather, Bert.
I'll
Bert,
make a motion.
seconded by Bert. Oh, Brent, okay. And everyone in favor? Okay, so it's passed. I think it's very good. I think it's just a piece of housekeeping. It's nothing stressful or anything, just a little piece of housekeeping that doesn't hurt to have on hand. Okay, the
so
burning question. Next piece, your next piece. here,
one more
Steve.
piece and then
Okay, sorry.
one more
Oh,
piece.
There we
So
go.
based off of the framework comes that waiver that I talked about. There's a little reverb.
Oh, I gotta shut myself off.
So this waiver is something that Dustin had found online and then I tailored it to be applicable to the Mitchell Business Improvement Area. I am not going to read it, but it basically covers the fact that we would sign this agreement with the performer. We tell them, you know, you've been paid X amount of dollars or you haven't been paid money for your footage. And it outlines what we can use the footage for. Again, we notice we note here any use, which is listed below, but not limited to. And then by signing the release, they're, you know, giving us that material that we can use it, repost it whenever we want, as often as we want. It gets their full consent. And then I've also added a section down here to specify what the material is for. So we would say that it's for, you know, the February 14th Valentine's Day concert, and then on what date it was for, just so that that's all encompassed in there. And then page 2 is just their information that they sign off on. And then if they are under the age of 18, they should get the signature of a parent or legal guardian as required. So this, again, I will get this all up on the website so that it'll be there, but I would say maybe, I don't know if you want another motion on this, Sherry, or if this is fine as is on having this waiver.
Jeff, do we think we need another motion on this one, or is it encompassed in the last?
I would get a motion. You might as well.
Okay, yeah, I was feeling like we should have a separate motion. So if I can get a mover and a seconder for the Mitchell Business Improvement Area Digital Content Distribution Waiver, as is. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
I'll make
Heather?
a motion to
Okay,
approve it.
Brent's making that motion, and then I saw somebody else's hand go up quick. Steve will second it. Thank you. And all in favor? And that motion's passed.
So if you want to have the discussion then on the potential of a next concert, we could do that now. I will unshare my screen and come back. Sherry, did you want to talk about that?
Well, we kind of all know we've had, you know, a pretty good success. We've had lots of good things. Do we want to move forward? We have had talk briefly. Trish and I did have a sidebar discussion with Dustin last month about the possibility of doing one over Father's Day weekend. And how does the board feel? I mean, you've seen the budgets, you've seen, I don't personally feel we're going to be doing any summer concerts, but that's just a personal feeling I have. So I'll open it up to you guys' thoughts.
I'm only gonna suggest one thing. I think we should do it next month, but I did notice that we've spent a little bit of the money. So does it make sense to budget it out and spread it out throughout the year would be my only thought towards it. I think next month could be a lot of fun. I think we had suggested Father's Day weekend, which is doable. But I just don't want to see us exhaust our resources halfway through the year would be my only concern with next month.
I see both sides of that. I mean, we don't want to exhaust our resources, but on the other hand, we're not spending it on the summer concert. What was our summer concert budget last year? What did we spend?
Now, can we borrow from that summer concert budget?
That's community involvement. Yep.
Oh, okay. So there would be. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's where this money's pretty much coming from, I think. Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say go ahead and do it if Dustin has the time to put it together. Sure, viewership was down a little bit, but it keeps activity going, and I think we got to keep doing that.
Yeah, if we go into more lockdown, I'll have tons of time.
True, as long as we can get the performers and a host and everything like that, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, and I don't know how everyone else feels. I feel personally it's not necessarily about the performers. They're the draw. They're what makes people watch because they're interested. But the end game is those really amazing drone footages and the insides and outsides of people's businesses. You know, people watch to see the entertainer, but they're getting educated on our downtown businesses while they watch it.
Yeah, no, I think that sounds good. We can definitely.
And again, you're not necessarily stealing money from the summer budget. We have that whole community involvement for 4,800, which is money covering costs from January 1st to December 31st. So we can use that money on anything. So I wouldn't worry about from a budget perspective. And as well too, with the advertising, we have a separate line for advertising. So like it's not all coming out of community involvement.
I might have misunderstood that then. I wasn't quite sure where funds were coming from.
And I don't know how anyone else feels, but I don't feel that we're going to be jumping into any summertime concerts in a month and a half. And, you know, they would have started 1st of July in like 6 weeks or 7 weeks from now. I can't.
Pretty much all my weddings are canceled for the summer. Everyone's already canceling. So
I'm totally open to any other ideas people have to go with it. It's totally when anyone else on the board wants to think of too. I don't know if we just power through a Father's Day and then just sort of, you know, do some advertising for if any events come up in July and then try to do something big in the fall. Thoughts from anyone?
I'd say we run with that idea.
That we stick with, we do a Father's Day concert again, and then we stick with trying to get something in October or November. Oh, I'm not
Well,
muted.
I'm hoping that I figure the summer's a write-off, but I would expect we should see some kind of a modest reopening by the fall. So I would hope we could do something in the lines of, I don't know, anything really, other than perpetually waiting for a vaccination.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, we'll stick with that then. Are you okay with Father's Day, Dustin, then?
yep, I have a few side projects I got to wrap up this week, and then starting next week, I can get the framework going for the next concert.
We had a little sidebar of some entertainers and such. If anybody knows of we had a little chat after the last meeting of some ideas of some other local entertainers that we could use. We threw a few things at Dustin to think about, but if anybody here has a fabulous entertainer on the top of their head, just shoot Dustin a message or an email. And
It
Okay.
depends. You want to listen to harp music?
maybe.
Bert, you want to come up and sing?
Yeah, Bert's gonna sing.
No, my singing days are over.
He can sing. I have heard him sing in the past.
Sing like a
Okay,
song.
on to
I'm just thinking
Bylaw.
I got some harps we could probably squeeze in there if you're desperate for some harp music, but I don't know.
oh yeah, because
Ladies and
Alicia
gentlemen,
plays the
Bert
harp. Just,
Horstenbosch.
We could do some heavy AC/DC harp music or something like that. See how that works out.
That'd be
Thorn and Roses did Billie Jean with fiddle, so you know what? We've done harp, AC/DC on the harp might be interesting. Okay,
Never
on
know.
to bylaw 210.
Okay, so this is, I believe I'm muted. Yep. The pages is actually like a legal size page, so I can't get a nice full screen view of it. But it came up last meeting about setting out the bylaw that was in respect to businesses having display items on the municipal sidewalk. And so this did go around to the membership. It was in, I think I put it in 2 newsletters, maybe 1 newsletter. And then I've also got it is on the municipal website, but I am going to add it to the resource section of our page as well for easy accessibility. But this bylaw talks about the displays of merchandise on sidewalks. And so there are parameters around that. And I don't know, sure if there's anything, or Jeff, that you wanted to touch more on this, but I know it came up last meeting. It's a few pages, so I'm obviously not going to read it, but
Jeff, if you're there, maybe I'll get you to touch on it very briefly from the clerk's department view.
Yeah, I would only mention that we just want to remind the BIA membership that the patio, and we're working with them on patios and providing some reduction in the amount of fees and deposits for patios, but we also have our displaying merchandise on the sidewalk bylaw, which is the one that Trish is referring to. If you see yourself as we go forward, sort of wanting to use sidewalk as part of your plan for adapting to COVID, then that bylaw is there for you to work with, and you can contact the office and we can work you through how you meet the bylaw.
perfect.
Is there any questions on the bylaw? Anyone have anything they want to ask while we have it on our minds? We're good? Okay.
Perfect. So I will keep skipping forward. So this is part of my the rest of my report. I do have a number of things to touch on tonight, so I'm going to go through them as quick as I can. So what I have on the screen right now is an excerpt from the Mitchell Advocate. So the Mitchell Advocate actually reached out to the businesses in West Perth, and they have done this no charge complimentary ad for our restaurants. So it highlights again restaurants in West Perth, and if they're open for takeout, delivery, a little bit about them. So they started to run this complimentary ad on April 21st, and I believe it's going to be in every Advocate until lockdown is over, is their hope. So that will be in there. I think it's a great initiative. It has happened in other BIAs or other newspaper areas before, so I think this is a really great addition to our paper, and it'll further help the businesses when they're really locked up right now. So that was just a little piece I wanted to share. I think it looks great. And then,
I have a question for you, Trish, on that.
Yep.
Since maybe you don't know, since this is what's in the Advocate. These top ones with the Dublin Restaurant and Mitchell Golf Course, who decides who goes there compared to a regular box?
I would say that the Advocate reached out to, so the BIA had nothing to do with this.
Okay.
The Advocate reached out to these businesses, and maybe they said that they wanted to pull an ad that they're already currently using. Maybe they have paid a nominal fee to have
Okay.
their ad bigger than the others. I didn't ask the question, but it is a very valid question.
Okay, just curious.
It's not going to change every week. This is the ad that they've done up. It could change, but I can get a bit of clarity on that too, because I don't know. I did notice a couple ads are bigger than others, but
I'll just contact them. That's okay. I'm always talking to them anyways.
okay. So I wanted to touch a little bit on the spring street party pivot planning. That's a mouthful. So we had originally talked about having a spring street party the end of May, and we all don't believe it's going to happen because we are in lockdown until right before May 24, and there is a possibility it could be extended, as has happened in the past. So I wanted to reach out to the advocate to get some pricing ideas. So what you see on screen right now is when we used to have garage sale weekend, they used to do up the ads with the different houses or churches or whoever was having a garage sale, and they would get their little word ad on the right hand side there, and then on the left hand side, businesses would have those little squares to put their ads about what they were doing on garage sale weekend. So I don't think we're going to be able to have the spring street party. I don't know if we're hopeful that we could maybe move it to June even. So I wondered about a pivot plan that would be, maybe we could still do these sort of ads where businesses could have a little square, and we could, tell the advocate that we want to book like 2 full pages, and then businesses can purchase these squares. So this is a previous example, which I believe would have been from 2018, possibly 2019. So this is an example of the size of square that they normally had. And this is what I had spoke with the advocate about doing, it maybe something a little bit bigger. So these are a bit bigger than the previous ads that they would get. And we would, if we went with this layout, you could get 9 businesses on a page. The cost per the ad would be $75 plus tax. And if we chose to go this route at $75 times the 9 businesses, there would be no cost to the BIA to have this ad in the paper, unless the board chose to offset some of the costs for the business. So again, the middle section will likely come out because we wouldn't really have a spring street party, but we could advertise it as maybe a sidewalk sale for businesses. And if we decided to get a couple page ad going, we sold all these ads, or the advocate had sold these ad spaces to the different businesses, they are going to offer us complimentary teaser ads. So that would be the earlug on the front page of the advocate. They would offer that up for a couple weeks leading up to the event, just to help promote it and say, kind of watch for this paper, here's more information coming. And then also, if there was enough participation in filling these ad slots, they have also asked to do a conjunction on digital and programmatic component for the event. So I know this is something that came up in the 2020 budget presentation from the advocate early last year, where they came to us with an outline for our different events, different advertising, the programmatic pieces that we could do as well. And I know we steered away from the digital side of it. So in speaking with the new representative, there's actually different levels of digital that you can do. So the original sales pitch was $1,000 in digital for our events, and they actually have packages that start at $250. So I believe, but I would have to double check, the tier is $250, $500, $750, and $1,000. And based on those different tiers, you would get a different amount of impressions. So for instance, with the $250, that would get you 25,000 impressions. And what that is that's all those different clicks on the websites. So I'm going to just share this other picture. Can everybody see this weather picture in front of them? Can you see that? Yeah, okay. So this Exeter Toyota ad here on the side, this is one of those digital pieces that they were, I don't want to say sales pitching, but pitching to us early last year. is to put a little ad like that. And so these ads can be targeted as well. So if you pay $250, you would get 25,000 impressions, and you would pick and target the audience base based on geographic location, based on gender and age, and you can really like hammer in on the individuals that you want to see this ad. So this is an example of it being on the Weather Network. And then I also have an example here. So on the Advocates, like on the Mitchell Advocates website, there's a KW Surplus, and Stratford and Kitchener did an ad. So as people read anything from Postmedia, I believe the National, it hits a number of different newspapers throughout like Canada, I believe it is. And your ad would pop up based on the demographics that you set. So I think that when it comes to digital, it is something we should loop into some of our events, because again, as I'm looking on Facebook, these ads would pop up if I'm in that age range, gender, geographic location to the event. So I think it's a good way to help target a certain audience that we're looking to gain. So that's kind of some of the information on the digital that I was hoping to touch on. I don't know if it's something, and again, like we can chat about it as we decide closer to actual events, what we will need to advertise, but I think it's important that we start to move into the digital a little bit. And I just am happy to know that, again, we don't have to jump at $1,000 in digital. We have different packages to use.
Hey guys, I apologize. I got a jet. I got to go to my next virtual lesson. Good meeting though, and I'll see you guys next time, okay?
Thanks, Dustin. So then I just have a few more updates, unless there's any questions on what I've hit so far.
I just muted and unmuted. Does anyone feel that there would be an appetite to try to digitally promote the street party concert in June, or do you think that that's maybe not what we would maybe use it? Totally your thought. Or do you want to save that for if we do a big, November, Christmas, fall street party again, maybe save a digital promotion for that?
I would save it, I would think.
Okay, fair enough. Anything more, Trish?
Just a few more updates on my work plan stuff. Excuse me. So a follow-up to the Blue Light Project, which was a presentation that we had received from Tracy Dench, that is an owner of Denchi's Sport Fort. She had approached the board about potentially having a fundraiser where we would sell blue light bulbs, and some of the profits would be 50-50 split between giving back to businesses that have sold the light bulbs, and then 50% of the profits would go to ordering meals for the nursing home staff. So that project was pitched to us, and then I went and I did some research on cost of light bulbs and how we could potentially make it work, and it's not really looking that great. So this is what I came up with my research. So light bulbs, generally speaking, that are colored and LED cost about $10 a light bulb. So that's $10 plus tax. And again, if it was a fundraiser to sell it as, X amount of dollars to hit, like if you sold it for 15, then some of that profit goes into these two pools. The issues in speaking with one of the businesses was that not every household or business has the same light socket. So there's different types of light bulbs, or different sockets for the light bulbs. So we don't really have a one size fits all. And to do this, we would have to facilitate pre-orders only, because we wouldn't want to have the business sitting with all these blue light bulbs that they're never going to sell, and it's solely ordered for this project. So that's just something to consider if we move into that. So that's kind of the light bulb piece of it. I don't know that it's really feasible. I also don't know how we would divide the surplus received from selling these light bulbs. I don't know that people would pay $15, $20 for a light bulb, even though they know that the revenue is going towards, you know, the nursing home staff. And then how do you divvy up the surplus back to the businesses fairly as well? Because some businesses aren't seeing traffic like other businesses are. So I think it might just be a bad can of worms to open. So in lieu of that idea, if we wanted to still stick with something that Tracy had pitched, I spoke with Floral Treasures about potentially making bows. And these bows would go in the business windows. We could approach council about decorating the light stands, and they could potentially be up for a week or a month or whatever we could come up with. So Jackie is able to get in, she can't get that nice mesh that everybody has. So the mesh is very hard to get because of the pandemic and people, you know, everybody decorated blue last year. So she can get in a 2-inch outdoor poly ribbon in royal blue, and they did up a sample bow for me tonight. So the bow would look, you know, kind of nicer than this, but it's just like a sample for now. So it would kind of be a decorative bow. And then we as a BIA could either purchase the bows or businesses could purchase them themselves, and we would just hope everybody would participate. Again, the bow would be cleaned up a lot more, but we would be looking at $8 a bow, which I don't think is an unreasonable cost either from the business themselves, or if we have the budget, we could pay that for each business, or maybe we cover the cost of the light standards. I don't know what everybody's thoughts are. So I don't know if you want to have some discussion on that project or where you want to go with it, or if you want me to look further into something. The only thing I will point out is if you decide that we want to do the blue ribbon, Jackie would like to place the order for the ribbon sooner than later because blue is so popular. She doesn't want to lose out on the stock.
Is that the only blue she has?
So the blue I just showed you is one option, or the other option that she thought would look really nice is the royal blue. She doesn't have that in her store
Yeah,
now.
which would be darker, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I think that one's too washed out, the one you have.
I agree. Yeah, so this was just more of a sample to see. I think the royal blue would really pop.
Yeah.
But again,
I like that idea. I do.
and they're an outdoor ribbon, so like they last really well, and we could potentially use them for multiple events too.
Do we have any problems wrapping the light standards? As in people complaining, i.e.
Mr. Brick?
I like the light standard idea, actually. I just want to make sure we're not gonna.
Yeah, you know, I don't know the answer. It's one I'd have to look into. Perhaps BIA members can recall a case in the past where we've wrapped them, and I just can't recall one right off.
Not recently. I like the idea. It's just, I know sometimes we kept getting into these complaints of we can't do that because et cetera, et cetera. So, but I still like the idea of wrapping the light standards.
Yeah, we just have to look into it.
I know when they were doing the mental health awareness fundraiser, the Ringette team, they wanted to do the light standards with either wrapping them or putting their little bows on it. And they were told that they had to go to council to get approval to do that. So that's the only piece that I know of. But again, like Jeff said, we can look into that a bit more.
How long would the ribbons be up?
As long as we would like. If we have to write a letter to council, then we would put that in there, the length of time.
We can leave them up all summer. We can leave them up for the month of July. We can, you know, I think if anybody can think of a fun tagline or a fun, you know, thing we can call it, go ahead and, you know, email out to the rest of the board. We won't talk about that tonight, but, you know, we should get a little campaign that goes with it. We could, you know, when the mental health did it, they called it the Ignite the Fight. So if we have sort of a, you know, something we want to add to it, call it. And how long we leave it up is completely up to the board.
And our blue is for the nursing home staff, things like that, right? The medic.
Healthcare workers.
Healthcare worker. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Healthcare workers. Yeah. Okay.
And the other option too is we could do other colors. It doesn't have to be blue, or we could, maybe potentially throw a couple different colored ones in there and stick with the blue as the main.
The first thing I thought off the top of my head is do something for Canada Day. Throw a red ribbon in there somehow with the blue.
Or red instead of blue, and just go straight to Canada Day and do
Yeah.
a downtown for the month of, leave it for the month of July even.
Yeah, target for the end of June to have it up and leave it up for month of July. As a suggestion.
Right, and hopefully we have a little bit more leeway, and we could have maybe when we first put it up, the first Saturday, we could target our sidewalk sales that day. You know, somewhere, July long weekend's not a good weekend to have it, but maybe somewhere in July,
Yeah,
you know, we may be able to do something.
Okay, perfect. So I'll look into getting red and going with the bows then. So sorry, not pursuing the light bulb idea anymore. Are we gonna pivot to using the blue ribbon at all? I just want to go back to Tracy and give her feedback on what was decided, I guess.
I think we go towards the ribbons instead.
Okay.
And are you feeling blue ribbons for general health care, or are you feeling we go towards July and do like a red and white ribbon and try to decorate our downtown for July?
why don't we do red and blue? Just, and the red can symbolize all Canadians, and the blue can be for your health workers. Canadians support all health workers.
Yeah.
We got
Yep.
lots of time to get some sign wars up about this, so.
Yeah. I am touching on that soon. So another piece is OBIA put on, instead of conference that would have happened at the end of April, they were putting on 4 different 1.5 hour sessions. So I signed up to participate in those sessions. We just had the 3rd one today, and there's one more next week. So the first session was called Reimagining Main Street. So people that are on BIA boards, executive partners, they were talking about different ways that we can reimagine using our Main Street. And one of the things that really stood out in that session to me was there's a business owner who has a window front, and he always just had his product displayed in the window front like every other business does. When COVID hit, he took his window display and he would rearrange it every couple of days, and he put product in the window with prices so that people could see it, and people would order based on the items sitting in his window. And then once that sold, he would replenish it with another option. So it was just kind of an idea for businesses to switch up their displays in their window, that people could actually shop from their windows as a way to help with COVID. There's a bunch of other ideas that came out of that as well. So I will share more next meeting after all the sessions have happened. The second one was activating public spaces into people-friendly places. That one's a little bit tough for us. We don't have extra sidewalks or extra roads, like road space that some other BIAs have. So some of the ideas that they gave weren't really consistent with what we could use here. Today's session was marketing your BIA in a digital world. That was a fantastic session. I left my notes at home, but really great feedback on how we need to help businesses, and businesses themselves help themselves get into more of a digital world of doing business. And, you know, for instance, our virtual concert, we were down 30 viewers, but from our first one, but we don't want to look at it that way. We still want to look at tackling events and ideas that we can do, despite the fact that it's not all about the numbers of who comes. It's about the production that you're putting on. So there's just different ways to think about how to do stuff digitally. And then next week is mental health and wellness for business owners and BIAs. So I'm actually going to get the link for that and send it out in a newsletter, along with the links that I forgot to send out this weekend for Perth County's 2 sessions, because I think it's important that the businesses do these 3 sessions that are coming out. So couple more pieces. So the Advocate, in speaking with them also, the Advocate has agreed to do a business to business promotion that we talked about. So they have agreed to do a story in the newspaper for any new BIA business that opens up in town, as long as they purchase an ad in the paper. So in speaking with them, there was no specific size on the ad that they would have to purchase, but they would get a free story even with the purchase of a piece of advertising. So I can just double check if there was a size quantity they'd have to get, but I thought that was a nice business piece to help get the new business's name out there. Associate members were invoiced a little bit earlier than we discussed. They were invoiced on April the 15th, and they all have a 90-day payment term as you guys had requested. We did have a new associate member that reached out one night and they wanted to join the next morning. So that's Avon Heating. So I will get their information on the website once they send that over to me. And then I think that any new BIA member or new associate members that want to join from now forward, since we've already done our annual invoicing, any new members that come in, I think we should send the invoice with a 30-day payment term as a typical invoice. I think it's nice to have that 90-day payment option for businesses that have been around with us longer. So I'm hoping that's okay with the board. If not, please speak up. Okay. And then the sign wars I wanted to talk about. So it appears that the hashtag sign wars have arrived in Mitchell. Perth County Chrysler started the sign war by calling out the Sugar Maple restaurant, saying, "Hey, Sugar Maple, let's get this started." Their rebuttal was, "Hey, Perth County Chrysler, we see you trying to wrangle us into a war, but we're going to dodge it." And then from there, business after businesses were calling each other out on social media with epic sayings. It is fantastic to see. Some people are so witty and I don't know where they get it from. So it's really neat to follow along on Facebook. It's a lot of people are, getting a good laugh out of everybody, sharing the signs. Some businesses are changing their signs daily or every other day. It depends who calls them out next. I noticed Heather got a call out today from Jen's Cafe. So we'll see what her rebuttal is. And then I'm trying to keep up as best I can by taking the photos off people's social media, which I hope is okay, and throwing them into an album on our Downtown Mitchell BIA Facebook page. So as it looks right now, there's over 30 businesses throughout Mitchell that are participating. So I can't believe it. I think it's just so cool.
So Trish, I'm not a big thing. I did a rebuttal to Jen's. Okay.
Oh, did you?
And yeah, but so I put it on my page, but I don't know how to show Jen so there's a West Perth Sign Wars Facebook page.
Yeah. So someone had created a page so that all the so you could share it into that group.
Okay. So I don't know how to do that. So
yeah, I can reach out.
You have to tag Jen. You just have to tag Jen in your.
I tried. I tried that and I couldn't. It wouldn't take.
She doesn't like you.
I don't like Facebook. I don't like Facebook.
I don't blame you. Well,
I didn't want to get involved. I just kept my fingers crossed. Just keep me out of it. And then I got all these texts this afternoon. Oh, you're in.
Yeah. Yeah. You're in.
I'm in.
I could help with that sharing too. And then I'll just take yours and stick it in the album that I made on the page.
Good.
I just thought
you look after that for me.
Sure, I got it. I just thought it would be kind of like a one-stop shop that people could check out that album too, but then someone had created a group. So a little bit of duplication, but I think it's okay. The last piece I want to touch on about the digital events is I did speak with Dustin, and I wish I got to this before he left, but we did talk about the posting our videos. So I know that there was discussion on we would do the live stream and then pull the video off of Facebook and then, repost it again in another month or so. And Jeff, maybe you can help me out with this, but I know we've had discussions. I spoke with Jeff about, better using our content. We've paid for this content and we do want to get it out there. So although I agree with the live stream and then pull it down, I'm starting to second guess, maybe we should keep it up there, or maybe we should consider, and again, maybe Ashley could help with this, a YouTube page even, where we could be posting these open for business campaign videos, reposting our concerts in there so that they live live on these platforms forever. or until we want to pull them down and refresh content. I just hate to see the stuff, getting posted and then not staying, and we want people to keep looking at them. So I don't know what people's thoughts are on that.
Those, the ads, is that what you're talking about? The ads?
So we did the Open for Business campaigns, like slideshows, we'll call them. Yeah, that. And then also the Artists for West Perth concerts.
So the ads though are available on the BIA page, right?
Yep.
All the time? It's just
Yep.
the concerts. And I think
Correct.
enough time has passed now from that, certainly from that first concert, that we could probably post it somewhere.
So I did repost the February 14th one just after our last one, I think. I think
Yeah.
it was the end of April.
But I mean, to have it whenever you wanted to watch it. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so the first concert is available on our Facebook page to go. I posted on April 27th, I think it was, and it's there live now that people can go
Okay.
look at as often as they
Okay.
want.
All right. I don't know what you're talking about then.
Jeff,
Sorry.
do you wanna- no, it's okay.
I'm still
So I'll have-
a little hungover from last week. So.
Okay, so I'll have a little go at it. So I think what Trish is talking about is setting up a system where you have a YouTube page or something where your videos reside and people can see them on demand at any time. And you've paid for the content and getting it out there and having the videos, the entertainment with the advertisements embedded in it. The more it gets viewed, the more value it is for BIA. So it's not a huge commitment to get a YouTube page, not unlike what the municipality has for our council meetings. And we're actually very surprised how many people will go back and look at things later and send the link to other people to look at, and it just kind of feeds on itself. So I would encourage you, and this is what I talked to Trish about, I would encourage you to consider that you bought and paid for that content, make it available.
So
but it is available now. No?
only on Facebook. Yeah, it's okay. By opening it up to the possibility of being on YouTube, like Jeff just said, people could share that link. And I think that YouTube offers different platform pieces over Facebook.
Okay.
Ashley, you have something?
Something we do, Trish, is we keep it on our Facebook page, but once you upload a handful of videos, you can turn them into a featured playlist that will stay at the top of your videos page. So for example, when we did our How To From Home series, we posted them all. And then after they were all up, we went back and added them to a playlist called How To From Home. So when people are on our page and they click videos, they're all right there. Same with our golf course point of views. They're all in the golf course playlist. So you could, as they're uploading or once they're done uploading, you could throw them all in a concert playlist, and then you can keep sharing that playlist continuously.
Okay, so go ahead.
Can you uplink them to our webpage too?
Yeah, so
Yep.
I'm gonna work on some website training on Friday. And getting some more, I want to get as much content on that website as we can, and having a YouTube channel potentially, and maybe, sorry, Ashley, I don't know if I want to speak to this. I don't know if maybe having a YouTube channel might be easier to post when it comes in correlation with our website versus Facebook. I don't know if there's parameters around that, but it will all be linked to our website. So my thing is we would still live stream these concerts, and you could potentially pull it down for a couple days and then I could repost it, or we could just let it live stream and then let it stay on there for people to keep viewing. So you would still promote it as people watching it live. You wouldn't publicly be telling people, we would save it there for later. You'd still promote it as live, this date, this time. And then you would just leave it up for people to keep watching.
Trish,
I think, sorry. I think the first time when it was suggested that maybe we hold it back and just have it was to garner some excitement about it. And now I think people are expecting it, and I don't think we'll have as much problem with the next one having people, be there for the night of the live performance kind of thing. Right. So yeah, no, I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
I was just going to say, just kind of piping in because I'm listening here, but I know you and I understood you were worried you wanted it to be live only just to get that viewer, but you do also have the BIA Bucks contest, which is an incentive for people to be watching it live, right?
Yes.
So then, you know, you got to watch it that night or you can't get in on the contest.
And that's the other piece too, is we would have to, make sure that people know that that cutoff for the BIA Bucks has happened. So you have to watch live once the concert's done. If they message the page after that 40 minutes or 45 minutes, like they're not eligible. And again, that might just be, you can update the description of the video as well, that the contest is closed, so that people don't message the keyword to the page. But I think that's one thing. Yes, Kristen, good point. We'll have to there is incentive to watch live. It is going to be live streamed, and then it'll just be available later, and people just can't get in on the contest too. Does Bert have something to say? No.
No.
Okay.
Any more questions? We're just about to wrap it up here. So any more questions for Trish?
Unmute yourself, Sherry.
You're still, oops.
Just having my own little conversation over here all by myself.
I heard you.
Through the secondary screen.
Yeah. Any more questions for Trish? Questions or concerns? Nothing more for Jeff. We did our other business. Jeff touched on other business during his report. So if there's nothing else from anyone. Okay, nothing else to add? Nothing else anyone has? Okay, so we'll look at our next Board of Management meeting Wednesday, June 2nd at 6 o'clock. And a motion to adjourn then. Steve? And Bert? And all in favor? I'm sure we all are. All right, and we'll give Kristen a minute to, thanks for joining us tonight, everyone. I know I got a few watchers that messaged